Money Matters, which is about employment, smart consumerism, and financial literacy. And first on stage, I would like to welcome Roland Clausen from Germany with his project Awamo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, welcome everyone. I'm really excited being here. I've heard so much about, thank you, about different projects with social impact, with cultural impact, with ecological impact. It's really great that you share your ideas and your projects. And I'm really glad that I have the chance to present to you Awamo. And during the next minute, I will tell you how we will use digital information to create opportunity for almost 400 million people in sub-Saharan Africa over the next years. Imagine that this is your business. You are a microfinance lender. You give credit amounts like 1,000 euros, 500 euros. You give them to farmers, to someone who wants to establish a small startup, selling water, selling food industry. And this is how you manage your business. This is how you make your credit decision. This is how you come together, or not, or one day later, or a few hours later, and you have to handle information, piles of paper. Or imagine that this is your reporting. This is everything you can use in order to give authorities the information they require from you if you're regulated, or if not, this is everything you have at hand to get an image how your own business is running at the moment. So, most likely you simply aren't able to tell how your business is going or how profitable you are. So, if you're a borrower, you have to pay like 60% per annum on average for your loan. So if you run such a business, it just makes no sense for you. And even though you have to see this woman as one of the lucky ones because she already has access to finance or to microfinance at all. There are 400 million people today in sub-Saharan Africa which have no access to any finance at all. Be it banks, be it microfinance institutions, nothing. So, 2 years ago, we invented an idea how to deal with this problem, and we came up with a solution, and this is Awamo 360's mobile office. We call it Mobile Office 360. It's the core part of our solution for microfinance providers, microfinance institutions in Africa. The USP our product has against all competitors is its mobility in the first place. You can go to the actual customer and make your business there instead of having your customer coming to your office, which is most likely not to happen in the rural areas in Africa especially. So the second part is biometric authentication. This is not cutting-edge technology. This is something which has been invented 2 decades ago and which is very mature, but it has never been applied for microfinance business. So what we do is we take the point of sale for microfinance and put it in front of the customer. And we enable the microfinance institutions to make business at the customer side with the customer. So, Awamo 360 almost digitizes the whole business process of the microfinance institution. Plainly said, we're creating the paperless office for microfinance institutions in Africa, so they will be ahead of even banks in Europe and so on. So, our solution covers every aspect of microfinance business, from the mobile point of sale, the mobile office, with management information 360, which is a business intelligence tool telling you how is your business going, what do I have to report to my shareholders or to authorities. We will sell credit reports, which will revolutionize your risk management, your portfolio management, because you are able to make different interest rates for different risk profiles. You're able for the first time as a microfinance lender to make professional risk management. And last thing is, it's a cloud solution. So it's completely hassle-free for you as a customer. You don't don't have to worry about security updates, about new functionality, because it's all automatically rolled out to every user, every customer we have connected. What is it good for you as a customer? Normally you have 225 euros of revenue stream generated by one loan on average. And using our solution, you can save up to 35 euros per loan by reducing the default of your credit. So this is the average which during prototype testing appeared to happen when they used our Awamo 360 solution. Second thing is, of course, we charge for our service. We take fees by user and month or client and month. So the client is the borrower, which actually gets credit from a microfinance institution. So we take a small fee, we're talking about like 10 euro cents per month and borrower. So this is very reasonable, especially for the smaller MFIs, the microfinance institutions in the rural areas. And second part is, after a time when we have gathered enough data, we will be able to sell credit reports, not only a list of information, but a credit score, which gives you a probability of default for a respective customer. This is about the social impact we want to reach. The darker green line is financial inclusion rate in Uganda. And if we manage to succeed our business plan, which is already pointed out, we will be able to cut financial inclusion in half by 2020. This is 4.3 million people in Uganda alone. And we're talking about 9 sub-Saharan African countries in which we will try to establish our solution as a market standard. We're talking as well about the market. We talk much about social entrepreneurship versus a social business model. Yes, this is a business model. We are a for-profit company because we think that the market will take care of many social problems once it has there's a possibility that people have access to certain mechanisms. Our market, even if we cut down the growth rate from 23 to 15%, accounts for $1 billion in 2020, and we want to reach an early 13% of it. Last but not least, our team. We the founders are very proud that we managed to assemble this team. Ladri has very extensive experience in credit risk modeling. Dirk is a full-stack Java developer who develops our backend. Samson is Android developer from Uganda. He is responsible for our user experience and user interface. And Isbel, he joined us from Syria, actually. He came with his family 2 years ago. He's a biometry expert. He develops Java applications which include biometry. And of course, the founders as well. Benedict lives and works in Africa for two years now. Philip has been working in Africa for 7 years on the ground, was involved in the management of many companies, which Western companies were invested in. So he has very extensive experience in the field in Africa as well. And I'm a specialist for product marketing and analytics from the credit bureau business. So we think that we have formed a very good team which is up to the task of doing it. And if you have any questions, I will happily answer it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before we move to questions, one reminder for short and sweet answers, please, and short and sweet questions.
Of course, thank you, Miss.
Very interesting presentation. I think the space of risk profile creation and management is a hot space right now.
Yeah.
There's companies like Verde and First Access and AMP who are removing the need to do the travel to move face to face.
Yeah.
How do you stack up against that competition that takes out both the upfront time to need to be face to face and also the distribution afterwards?
Yeah, you're right. Thank you for the question. At the time being, we have no real competitors because the point of sale actually lies at the customer. To date, the application of electronic devices has not been advanced in a way that the consumers, the 400 million financially excluded people, are using smartphones. They use mobiles, yes, but they use text-based mobiles, like this so-called Nokia Knochen from 1995. This is the most widely used phone in the rural areas. So yes, to a certain degree, there is a transformation towards a more digital way of living, but the growth path is very, very slow. So by the time we will have our solution in the market, beginning of next year, there are hundreds of millions of people for who it is no option to use electronic devices, simply because mobile cellular coverage is low in rural regions. So you have to cope with that. So we think that the point of sale will remain for at least 1 or 2 decades at the customer and not completely electronically or in the cloud. Then it wouldn't matter where the customer actually is located.
To connect the questions to your to what you say, the first of all, I didn't get the image. The image you showed from the 3 people at the counter.
Yeah.
And then you say like we have an online cloud-based solution. So I'm just curious whether your solution is really like offline or online. And second, at least as far as I'm aware, the space needs sizzling. A lot of participants, Credit Quest, SaaS, many parts entering this space. Your solution looks a bit, I may say so, a bit old-fashioned. It's a bit Jugaad-like, but to me, I see more advanced solutions than that. So I'm just like wondering, so you say there's no competitor for what you do in the credit management space?
It depends on how you define competitor.
Not like Credit Quest or SaaS?
One counter question. There's a lot of talking about entering the African market. The big players are doing it mostly. Did you ever see any one of them approaching the last mile to the customers in Africa to date? I did not. So there are efforts to enter these markets, but we think that this is kind of a last mile to the customer, and they didn't manage to go there until today.
Yeah, but so you're saying that the total credit management process is only like the last really point of sale, that's what you're offering. And it is in terms of scaling of your market, like this, then should be like this.
There are competitors, if you take into account digital management solutions for microloans, but they are stuck to desktop PCs. So the customer has to come to your office. You can do data management only at your PC in your office. There is no real-time data capability. Like if you want to update your database in the office, you take Excel sheets, you import them manually, and if you output your reporting for authorities, for example, you, guess what? Export Excel sheets and send them to the authorities. So this is what our competitors offer today. There are a little bit better systems, there are a little worse systems, but in average, there's no solution which offers the complete functionality for the whole business process in real time with complete online and offline synchronizing functionality. It doesn't matter if our solution is in the very moment you make contact with your customer, if it's online or offline. It will recognize if the mobile coverage suffices to take the app online and synchronize all the data you have captured so far.
As we have a few more questions, please keep your answers very short.
Okay, sorry.
But therefore we have more. So I'm just curious, what's the name coming from?
Yeah, Awamo. Anton Wilhelm Amo, he came to Germany as a slave, actually. He was a present for a Herzog, which is an outstanding person in society. And this Herzog was humanist, and he said, oh, so I don't want to have slaves, I integrate this guy in my family. So he had a very good education, and he was the first African ever attending a German university, and not only that, he taught at 2 German universities later, and attained 2 PhDs in, I think, philosophy and law. So what we thought, or what we wanted to express with Awamo, which is actually an acronym of Anton Wilhelm Amo, is once given a chance, people can be very, very productive, and this holds true as well for people here in Europe. We saw it with socially, with people and their social background not being so good, and in Africa and the rural regions as well. If they have the chance, they will develop by themselves using their resources and their know-how, and that is what Awamo stands for.
One of the biggest problems in the illicit actors. So we call them mashonisas in South Africa. Illicit micro-lenders, illegal.
Ah, okay.
Yes. And you spoke about 4 million who are, or at least 4 million who don't have access to microfinance, and many times the case is they don't know where to look for microfinance. I see this project more as capacity building for legitimate microfinance lenders. Have you ever thought about the applicability or the possible applicability of such a, such an app to reaching the actual clients themselves?
Yeah. It's kind of a bottom-up, top-down problem. Our approach is to first serve our customers, to enable them to serve their customers better, and in the second place, we will, at a later stage, enable the borrowers to see their own credit history, to make corrections to their own credit history, and of course, to make it easier for them to get notified about possibilities in their region to apply for microcredit, for example. But this is at a later stage, like in 2 or 3 years from now, because as I pointed out earlier, currently the adoption of the newer technologies which would be required to create such a tool, like an app mostly, they simply don't use smartphones in the rural areas. And I think in 2, 3, 4 years, the adoption rate will increase bit by bit, and then it makes sense to roll out such information services. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Big round of applause.